inspiring music, creative international cuisine, and Casablanca, Morocco coming up next. Hello and welcome to Mission 360. I'm Gary Krause. Today's program is coming to you from Casablanca in Morocco on the north coast of the continent of Africa. And behind me you can see the Hassan II Mosque, one of the world's largest mosques. In fact, if you're coming from sea, you could almost mistake it as a lighthouse. The minaret is the world's tallest, and at one time some 100,000 worshippers can fit in between the inside walls to the outer grounds. That's a lot of people. And one of the interesting things about this mosque too is that it's one of the few in this country that is open to non-Muslims. The doors are open to all, which is quite a wonderful thing. And I'm just wondering about those of us who come from the Christian tradition. Are our churches always open to those from the community? Are people welcomed? Are they made to feel at home? Well, we'll be looking at mission today in all its aspects in various parts of the world. But first up, let's be inspired again by the words and melody of that beautiful old hymn, Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. What's grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home.
My guest here in Hong Kong is Tommy Kwok, who is a young adult leader for a church planting initiative in this big city. Tommy, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, you, of course, went to Melbourne, Australia for some further training, and it was there that something happened that changed your life. Can you describe your experience there?
Yeah, actually, I think, God really has given me this divine appointment because when I was in Hong Kong, I was a Sunday church, but after I went to Australia, and then I started to get to know about some of the Adventist friends, and then one of the things that really amazed me is like in the past I didn't really study Bible so much, but when I came to Adventist church, and then I started to really go in depth into the Bible and understand a bit more. But actually, becoming the Seventh Adventist is a really tough situation for me, because for myself, I grew up in the atheist family, so my families are really against my religions. So when I was in Melbourne, and also there's a lot of secular things that really deceived me and then to get me away from the church. And also I met some of my friends that is not very good. We go partying on Friday night, and then so even I went to the Adventist church for like for the first few months, but afterward I just left the church again, and then but God has really placed this burden in my heart. And then when I was still enjoying what we call enjoying this secular entertainment, and I started to realize myself a bit of empty, and also because of some of the family things happened in Hong Kong. And then one day I picked up the phone from my family, my sister, and then they told me my mom is going to do the surgeries to cut off her hands. And because of my, when I went to Melbourne, and then I started to spend a lot of family's monies, and I didn't realize how much they have really paid for me, and I just keep spending until that day. And then I received that call, and I started to have that sense to know that the family really cares me a lot. And then so I started to, and then there's a picture that came to me that I had to go back to God. And then so I started to call the friends in the church, and then they told me to come back to the church, and that's how I started to begin my true journeys in a Christian walk with God.
Wonderful. So you made a full commitment then.
Yeah, that's right.
So you come from a family of non-believers.
Yeah.
But you yourself, okay, so now you've come back to Hong Kong, and you're not just involved in your work, which takes up a lot of your time, but you are focused on ministry. Tell me what you are aiming to do here in Hong Kong.
Actually, when I came back from Melbourne, and then I attend one of the Seventh-day Adventist church in Hong Kong, but to be honest, in that time period is really one of my toughest time in my spiritual walk with God. And then because there's so many things in Hong Kong that really lead us astray from God. And then my family pressure, and also in Hong Kong it's really hard to find a Sabbath-keeping jobs. And also in the church, maybe because not everyone are really focusing on reaching out to people. So I started to want a lot of programs rather than, to doing a more like one-to-one works with God. And then so I started to feel like the importance. And then so I started to think, if God really want me to go for Him, and then I will do whatever I can. And then so actually my burden is really on my friends, because when I went to the church, I saw not many of the young adult people like my age in the church. So I just pray to God, if God, that is the target group that you want me to reach out to, so please give me this burden. And I've been praying so much, and then really, and one day, and I think God has really gracious to us, and then He actually sent Johnny all the way from Melbourne, and came to visit us, and then he saw our situation, and he told us, a story about a matches. He said we are just like a matches, if we all stand alone, and then we will finally burn out by ourselves. And then he told us we have to gather again. So that night, and then actually we gather all the people from Melbourne together, and then we started to think and to plan and to pray together on every Friday night. And then God has given us these visions. And then we are so amazed, and then we are so shocked, because that mission is so great. And then God is telling us to not only to set up a care group in Hong Kong, but also to set up a care group church in Hong Kong. But back then we only have 4 person.
Right.
Yeah. And then, this is really a challenging work.
Right. But God specializes in starting with just a few people who make that commitment.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we see here that you have plans here, you have care groups starting, you have groups being planted, and I want to thank you so much for sharing your story, and I know God has big plans ahead for you.
Yep.
And viewers at home, please pray for Tommy, pray for other young people here in Hong Kong that they will have this vision for mission. And we see this tremendous start as groups are being planted, and we see a centre of influence starting right here. And please pray for these people and pray that God will open up opportunities so that many people may come to know Him as their Saviour. Welcome back to Casablanca. Next up, we visit Mission 360's kitchen for another international recipe.
Welcome to our Mission 360 kitchen. We like to think of our world as a global neighborhood, and so we like to bring you international recipes just so you can kind of feel part of something bigger. We like to foster a sense of community, don't we? Mm-hmm. So today we're going to make a salad with white beans, and we're giving this tribute to our friends in Uruguay. Now, you've been to Uruguay, haven't you?
I have. I've been to Montevideo, which is, there's a beach there and there's a lot of local art and street art. It's a beautiful place and the people were very friendly.
Good place to buy souvenirs and art?
Yes, definitely.
I would definitely like it too.
You should go sometime.
I hope to. Well, we're going to start out with white beans, and in this particular recipe you can use any kind of beans you want. In fact, most of the ingredients that you see here are ingredients that you probably have already in your kitchen cupboard or your kitchen.
So let me tell you what ingredients we're going to need for the salad.
Okay.
We need 3 cups of white beans, a tomato, 1 onion, 2 stalks of celery, 1/4 cup of parsley, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 3/4 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of basil, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That sounds like a lot, but it's pretty easy.
And also it makes a large recipe and it will keep for several days, so it is worth the time and effort.
Good. Glad
So let's start out with the beans. These are white beans. Use any kind of beans you might have in your pantry.
You could even use chickpeas or garbanzos, right?
Right, and you can mix them too if you wish. So whatever you have in your pantry, go for it.
Sure, it'll be delicious. Let me put in the onions next.
Okay.
That's gonna make it a little spicy. There we go.
And I'm going to put in some diced tomato. As you can see, the salad is growing in volume step by step. Okay.
Add the parsley, which has a nice flavor, nice smell too.
Okay, we're going to add some crunchiness with some celery here.
Just gonna put a little bit of oil on that. Just make everything move a little
Okay.
bit easier.
Good. Here's some lime juice or lemon. You can use both or mix. If you want to, you could even use orange juice.
I'm gonna put on my favorite ingredient, which is the basil.
Fresh basil, right?
Yes, fresh basil.
The best kind. I'm going to add a little bit of oregano.
Okay. And then I'll just put a little bit of salt. Sprinkle that over. There you go.
Okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of paprika here. You can use sweet paprika or smoked, whichever your favorite kind is. Okay,
Should I
let's
stir this?
Yes, maybe we both can kind of keep it from overflowing too much.
Let's stir it a little carefully.
Yeah.
It's
So we
so
just have to kind of
colorful.
fold it in a little bit.
This looks really healthy. So good for you.
And it's really an inexpensive salad too. I might just turn the bowl and let's keep turning it a little bit. Does that look pretty good?
Let's try it.
All right. Now we just have a small taste right here because we're going to save the rest for our company. Oh, let me grab a spoon for you real quick.
Thank you.
There you go.
Perfect.
And I'll try a little bit too.
Okay. This looks so good, and I love the beans.
I do too. I've had it many different ways, and it's a no-fail. Anybody can do this one.
Nice and fresh.
I like the crunch of the celery, and I like the fresh basil in there.
And I can taste a little bit of the lemon juice. It's not
I
too
can
much
too.
though.
I can too. Very nice. And as I said, it keeps for several days. So if you want to impress your company and you want to do this ahead of time so that you're free to enjoy your guests when they arrive, this is a salad I'd highly recommend. So if you tend to go in Martha mode, you tend to get a little nervous or distracted when company comes, this is an excellent make-ahead recipe. So I hope you try it soon. And thanks for joining us here in our Mission 360 kitchen.
Next up, we have a music video entitled The Healer.
You heal my beautiful wife. You saved my little child. God, you did it just to show what a healing God you are. The sickness now is gone, and the pain is far removed. God, all you really show is what a healing God you are. You are a healer, great redeemer, my doctor, sweet Savior. And with just one word, you can take control. And with just one touch, you can make me whole. What a healing God you are. What a healing God you are. So when the doctor said they can't, Lord, you said you will. God, you said it just to show what a healing God you are. And all the miracles you've done, all the healings you display, God, all I want to say is what a healing God you are. You are a healer, great redeemer, my doctor, sweet Savior. And with just one word, you can take control. And with just one touch, you can make me whole. What a healing God you are. What a healing God you are. You are a healer, great redeemer, my doctor, sweet Savior. And with just one word, you can take control. And with just one touch, you can make me whole. What a healing God you are. What a healing God you are.
Well, I hope that you've enjoyed today's Mission 360. But more than just enjoy, I hope that you've been challenged by what you've seen and heard on today's program. Around the world today, we face many mission challenges, but perhaps the biggest is the growing cities of the world, the vast metropolises of people. We have many cities of more than 1 million people with not even one Adventist group worshipping there. And I want to thank you for your continuing involvement in mission, and I want to thank you for being part of the Mission 360 Adventist mission team. Yes, you're part of the team if you're watching this program. And you may say, well, I'm just sitting on the sofa watching this program, or I'm in the kitchen, I'm not involved. Well, yes, you are, because every time that you say a prayer for mission, you are contributing to the mission of this church. And I'd like to ask you to please make prayer for mission part of your daily prayer life. It makes a difference to frontline mission workers to know that there's a world church praying for them. And I want to thank you also for your personal sacrifice, your giving to mission, through mission offerings to donations to global mission. Again, these donations make it possible for the things you see on this program to happen. Before we go, I'd like to offer you a small gift. It's a free gift, a little thank you for your participation in mission. It's called A Taste of Travel. And this book is full of recipes from around the world, and you can have fun experimenting with them in your kitchen. Well, for Adventist Mission, I'm Gary Krause, and I hope that you can join me next time right here on Mission 360.